Titled The Lost City of Etheria, the wind howled through the dense jungle, carrying with it the scent of rain and earth. Emma tightened the straps of her backpack and adjusted the brim of her hat, shielding her eyes from the relentless sun. She had been trekking through the Amazon rainforest for days, following a map that had been in her family for generations. The map was old, its edges frayed, and the ink faded, but it was her only clue to finding the legendary lost city of Etheria. Emma wasn't alone. Her best friend Jack, a tech-savvy adventurer with a knack for getting into trouble, was by her side. Together, they had faced countless challenges, from treacherous mountain passes to ancient booby-trapped temples. But this journey felt different. The air was thick with mystery, and every step deeper into the jungle seemed to pull them further into the unknown. The map had led them to a hidden cave, its entrance obscured by vines and moss. Inside, the air was cool and damp, and the walls were covered in strange carvings that seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. Emma's heart raced as she traced the symbols with her fingers. They were the same ones she had seen in her grandfather's journal, the one that spoke of a city filled with untold treasures and advanced technology lost to time. "This is it," Emma whispered, her voice echoing through the cavern. "Etheria is real," as they ventured deeper into the cave. The ground beneath them began to tremble. Jack grabbed Emma's arm, pulling her back just as a massive stone slab slid into place, blocking their exit. They were trapped. "Great," Jack muttered, pulling out his flashlight. "Now what?" Emma studied the carvings on the walls, her mind racing. "These symbols, they're a puzzle. If we can solve it, we might find another way out." Hours passed as they worked together, deciphering the ancient language and manipulating the mechanisms hidden within the walls. Finally, with a loud click, a hidden door slid open, revealing a narrow passageway. The air grew warmer as they followed it, and soon they emerged into a vast underground chamber. The sight took their breath away. Before them stood the lost city of Etheria, its towering structures made of a shimmering metal that seemed to pulse with energy. The city was bathed in an ethereal light, and the air hummed with the sound of unseen machinery. But they weren't alone. A group of mercenaries, led by a ruthless treasure hunter named Victor Kane, had also found their way to Etheria. Kane had been one step behind Emma and Jack the entire journey, and now he stood between them and the city's secrets. "Hand over the map," Kane demanded, his voice cold and menacing. "This city belongs to me." Emma clenched her fists. "Etheria doesn't belong to anyone. It's a piece of history, and it deserves to be protected." A fierce battle ensued, with Emma and Jack using their wits and the city's ancient technology to outmaneuver Kane and his men. They activated hidden defenses, causing the ground to shake and the walls to shift, trapping the mercenaries in a labyrinth of their own making. With Kane defeated, Emma and Jack turned their attention to uncovering the city's secrets. They discovered a central chamber filled with holographic records detailing the history of Etheria and its people. The city had been a hub of innovation, its inhabitants possessing knowledge far beyond their time. But their downfall had come from within, as greed and power tore them apart. As Emma and Jack explored further, they found a device that could harness the city's energy, capable of providing clean, limitless power to the world. But they also realized that such power could be dangerous in the wrong hands. "We can't let this fall into the wrong hands," Jack said, his voice serious. "We have to protect it." Emma nodded. "We'll document everything and share it with the world, but only when the time is right." As they made their way back to the surface, the city began to collapse, its ancient structures unable to withstand the passage of time. Emma and Jack barely made it out alive, emerging from the jungle just as the sun began to rise. Exhausted but triumphant, they looked at each other and smiled. They had uncovered one of the greatest mysteries of all time. And though the journey had been perilous, it had been worth it. "What's next?" Jack asked, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Emma grinned. "Who knows? But whatever it is, we'll face it together." And with that, they set off into the horizon, ready for their next great adventure. Titled The Lost City of Etheria, Part 2. The journey back to civilization was anything but easy. Emma and Jack had to navigate through the dense jungle, avoiding dangerous wildlife and treacherous terrain. But their biggest challenge came when they reached the river that marked the edge of the rainforest. The bridge they had used to cross days earlier was now destroyed, likely by Victor Kane's mercenaries to cut off their escape. Great, Jack muttered, staring at the rushing water. No wet, swim. Emma shook her head, her eyes scanning the riverbank. There has to be another way. Maybe we can build a raft, or before she could finish, a low growl echoed through the trees. Both of them froze. Emerging from the shadows was a jaguar, its golden eyes locked on them. The big cat circled slowly, its muscles tense and ready to pounce. Don't move, Emma whispered, her hand instinctively reaching for the machete at her side. But Jack had other ideas. He reached into his backpack and pulled out a small device, a portable drone he had been tinkering with during their journey. With a quick flick of his wrist, he activated it, and the drone buzzed to life, darting toward the jaguar. The big cat hissed and swatted at the drone, giving Emma and Jack just enough time to scramble up a nearby tree. Nice thinking, Emma said, catching her breath. Jack grinned. I told you this thing would come in handy. Once the jaguar lost interest and wandered off, they climbed down and finally managed to build a makeshift raft using vines and fallen branches. The river carried them downstream, and after hours of navigating rapids and dodging rocks, they reached a small village on the outskirts of the jungle. The villagers were wary of strangers but welcomed Emma and Jack when they showed them the artifacts they had recovered from Etheria. Among the items was a small, intricately carved pendant that seemed to glow faintly. The village elder, a wise woman named Mariana, recognized it immediately. This is the key of Etheria, she said, her voice trembling with awe. It is said to hold the power to unlock the city's greatest secret, a hidden vault that contains the knowledge of the ancients. Emma and Jack exchanged glances. They had thought their adventure was over, but it seemed there was still more to discover. Where is this vault? Emma asked. Mariana pointed to the horizon, where a range of towering mountains loomed. Beyond the peaks lies the Valley of Echoes. The vault is hidden there, protected by trials that only the worthy can pass. Without hesitation, Emma and Jack decided to continue their quest. They spent a few days in the village, gathering supplies and learning what they could about the Valley of Echoes. Mariana warned them of the dangers that awaited ancient guardians, treacherous paths, and a mysterious force that could drive intruders mad. The journey to the mountains was grueling. The air grew thinner as they climbed, and the temperature dropped sharply. But they pressed on, driven by the promise of uncovering Etheria's greatest secret. When they finally reached the Valley of Echoes, they were met with an eerie sight. The valley was shrouded in mist, and the ground was littered with strange glowing crystals. As they ventured deeper, they began to hear whispers, voices that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Do you hear that? Jack asked, his voice tense. Emma nodded. It's like the valley is alive. The whispers grew louder, filling their minds with doubts and fears. Emma felt a wave of panic wash over her, but she forced herself to focus. She held up the key of Etheria, and its glow intensified, pushing back the mist and silencing the voices. The key protects us, she realized. We have to stay close to it. As they pressed forward, they encountered the first of the trials, a massive stone door covered in symbols. Using the knowledge they had gained from Etheria, they deciphered the puzzle and unlocked the door. Beyond it was a labyrinth filled with traps and illusions, each designed to test their courage and resolve. Hours turned into days as they navigated the labyrinth, solving riddles and overcoming obstacles. Finally, they reached the heart of the valley, where the hidden vault awaited. The entrance was guarded by a massive stone statue that came to life as they approached. Who seeks the knowledge of Etheria? The statue boomed. Emma stepped forward, holding the key of Etheria high. We do. We seek to protect and preserve the legacy of the ancients. The statue studied them for a moment before stepping aside. Prove your words. The final trial was a test of unity. Emma and Jack had to work together to activate a series of mechanisms, their movements perfectly synchronized. As the last mechanism clicked into place, the vault door slowly opened, revealing a chamber filled with glowing orbs, each containing the knowledge and wisdom of Etheria. But as they stepped inside, they heard a familiar voice behind them. "I knew you'd let me here." Victor Kane emerged from the shadows, his mercenaries at his side. He had survived the collapse of Etheria and had been following them ever since. Emma and Jack braced themselves for another confrontation, but this time they were ready, using the power of the vault. They activated its defenses, trapping Kane and his men in a force field. "You'll never win," Kane snarled. Emma smiled. "We already have." With the vault secured, Emma and Jack began the long process of documenting its contents. They knew the knowledge within could change the world. But it had to be shared carefully and responsibly. As they left the Valley of Echoes, they looked back at the mountains, knowing they had completed their journey, but they also knew that their adventures were far from over. The world was full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered. And together they were ready to face them. "Where to next?" Jack asked, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Emma grinned. "Wherever the wind takes us," and with that they set off into the unknown, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. Titled The Lost City of Etheria, Part 3. Secrets of the Deep. Months had passed since Emma and Jack had uncovered the secrets of the Etherian vault. They had spent their time carefully studying the glowing orbs, decoding the ancient knowledge, and sharing fragments of it with trusted scientists and historians. But one orb remained a mystery, a pulsating sphere that emitted a faint, otherworldly hum. It seemed to react to water, glowing brighter whenever it was near a source of moisture. "This has to mean something," Emma said, staring at the orb as it hovered above a bowl of water in their makeshift lab. "It's like it's trying to tell us where to go next." Jack leaned back in his chair, his arms crossed. "You think it's pointing us to the ocean? That's a pretty big place to search." Emma nodded. Etheria was a city of advanced technology. What if there's another city underwater connected to it? Maybe this orb is the key to finding it. Their research led them to an old maritime legend about a city of glass hidden beneath the waves, a place said to shimmer like diamonds under the moonlight. The legend spoke of a powerful artifact, the Terror of Etheria, that could control the tides and protect the city from intruders. The descriptions matched the orb they had found. With renewed determination, Emma and Jack set off for the coast, where they chartered a boat and enlisted the help of a seasoned diver named Sophia. Sophia was a no-nonsense woman with a sharp wit and a deep love for the ocean. She had heard the legends of the City of Glass and was eager to see if they were true. "If this city exists," Sophia said as they sailed into deeper waters, "it won't be easy to find. The ocean doesn't give up its secrets easily." The orb guided them to a remote location in the Pacific Ocean, where the water was a deep, mesmerizing blue. As they prepared to dive, the orb began to glow brighter, its hum growing louder. Emma attached it to a waterproof harness, and the three of them descended into the depths. The underwater world was breathtaking. Schools of colorful fish darted around them, and coral reefs stretched as far as the eye could see. But as they went deeper, the environment changed. The water grew colder, and the light from the surface faded. The orb's glow became their only source of illumination. Suddenly, the ocean floor gave way to a massive trench. Emma signaled to the others, and they followed the orb as it led them deeper into the abyss. At the bottom of the trench, they found a colossal structure made of translucent material that shimmered like glass. The City of Glass. The city was unlike anything they had ever seen. Its buildings were sleek and futuristic, with glowing veins of energy running through them. The orb's hum synchronized with the city's energy, and the gates to the city slowly opened, revealing a breathtaking interior filled with bioluminescent plants and flowing water channels. But their awe was short-lived. As they explored the city, they discovered that it was not abandoned. Strange, humanoid creatures with shimmering, scale-like skin watched them from the shadows. These were the guardians of the city, descendants of the Etherians who had fled to the ocean centuries ago. One of the guardians stepped forward, speaking in a melodic, echoing voice. "You carry the key of Etheria. Why have you come? Emma held up the orb. We seek to understand. We want to protect the legacy of Etheria and learn from your people. The guardian studied them for a moment before nodding. You may pass, but be warned the trials of the deep are not for the faint of heart. The trials were unlike anything they had faced before. They had to navigate through underwater mazes, solve puzzles that required them to manipulate water currents, and face their deepest fears and illusions created by the city's technology. Each trial tested their courage, intelligence, and bond as a team. At the heart of the city, they found the Tear of Etheria, a massive crystal that pulsed with the energy of the ocean itself. It was the source of the city's power and the key to maintaining the balance of the underwater world. But as they approached the crystal, a familiar voice echoed through the chamber. "I knew you'd let me here." Victor Kane emerged from the shadows, flanked by a group of mercenaries in advanced diving suits. He had been tracking them all along, waiting for the right moment to strike. "You're persistent, I'll give you that," Jack said, stepping forward. "But this ends here." A fierce battle ensued, with Emma, Jack, and Sophia using the city's technology to outmaneuver Kane and his men. They activated water jets to knock the mercenaries off balance and summoned the city's guardians to aid them. In the chaos, Kane managed to grab the Tear of Etheria, but the crystal's power was too much for him to control. The city began to shake as the energy surged out of control. Emma realized that if they didn't act quickly, the entire city would collapse. "We have to stabilize the crystal," she shouted. Working together, they managed to wrest the Tear of Etheria from Kane and return it to its pedestal. The city's energy stabilized, and Kane and his men were swept away by the currents, their fate unknown. With the city safe, the Guardians thanked Emma, Jack, and Sophia for their bravery. They shared more of Etheria's knowledge, including advanced techniques for sustainable living and environmental restoration. As they returned to the surface, Emma looked at the orb, now glowing faintly in her hand. "There's still so much to learn." "Etheria's legacy is bigger than we ever imagined," Jack grinned. "And we're just getting started." Sophia laughed. "You two are trouble, but I wouldn't miss this for the world." As their boat sailed back to shore, the trio knew that their adventures were far from over. The world was full of mysteries, and together they were ready to uncover them all. The end for now.